Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Sunday, February 4th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App, $ ORION NWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got NXT Vengeance Day 2024 live reactions and a watch party. We're going to get started here in about 1 minute. And it looks like it actually will be a decent pay-per-view. Now, I have done Vengeance Day almost every single year, at this point, just because we're usually looking for something to do. And, typically the NFL Pro Bowl, now it's like, flag football and it's two-hand touch. So we started kind of fading, the Pro Bowl. And then we were supposed to have NASCAR today, but then obviously the rain was going to come a little bit early. So they ended up doing the NASCAR Cup race a day early on Saturday night. So that's probably what we would have done. But I am kind of glad that I got a chance to watch Denny Hamlin win that yesterday to kind of kick off the season. And then I can get my full focus here on Vengeance Day because there really isn't anything else that's on right now that actually is like must-see TV. So, hey, this will be a nice way to kind of cap off the weekend doing Vengeance Day. And then we'll get into the NHL as we hop into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the week. But I like the matches so far on the card. They actually look pretty good. Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. We got the NXT North American champion Oba Femi versus Dragon Lee. So that one should be, kind of up-tempo and fun. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams in the Dusty Cup final. And then we get also NXT champion Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams. So Trick Williams is going to double dip, and he'll be in 2 matches tonight with a couple extra matches that they've thrown in. So I believe we have a total of 6. So nothing too crazy, but I am excited, and hopefully it ends up being a good day. Sarah in the building, what's good? Let's get to 100 and donos. Let's do it. And again, as I was looking through the card, I said, you know what? This actually looks pretty decent. And if we don't have anything else that we can do, NHL, NBA slate is kind of weak. I would rather do NXT. And usually if it ends up being an NXT takeover or an NXT pay-per-view, it usually lives up to the billing. And we're not talking about the old school Adam Cole Bebe. When that NXT era was going on, when they had the yellow ropes, that was probably the best it was ever going to be. But at this point, I still enjoy NXT, and I'm hoping that they end up giving us a good show. Let's go, baby. And then it took a minute to do the thumb. I wanted to do something original. So I went through and tried to find some good Clarksville, Tennessee backgrounds. Couldn't find anything that really suited me. And I didn't really want to use just the standard graphic that NXT or WWE came out with. So I decided to make my own, and looks like it turned out pretty good. All right. Trick Williams on the left and the champ. Ilya Dragunov on the right. Let's go. I always feel a little bit better when I can end up making my own anyways. So when I can put a little bit more effort into it. Let's go, baby. All right, just taking a quick look to see what we got on the NBA side, if there's any surprises. Celtics 121, Grizzlies 85. Pacers 97, Hornets 81. Clippers and Heat 77-74. 8 minutes left. 43-40. T-Wolves on the Rockets. Raptors 60-45 on the Thunder. And then we got a couple finals. Magic 111, Pistons 99. Phoenix Suns 140, Wizards 112. And then you got Bucks, Jazz, and Blazers, Nuggets coming on here in about, Blazers, Nuggets is on in about a half hour. So I'll probably turn that on as well. So that way I can double dip. Let's go. All right, let me get the volume all situated. All right, baby. And hopefully we'll get some goats to come through to hang out and watch some NXT Vengeance Day with us here on this February. I can't even believe it's February 4th. It's crazy. I'm ready for this. So Valkyria versus Perez, Femi and Lee, Breaker Hayes, Breaker Corbin, Hayes and Williams. Let's go. I've been craving it. At some point, I am going to end up getting that King Arthur's special from that place that I got when I was a kid. I was actually thinking about it when I was walking Paisley today. At some point, I'm going to get it, but I just don't know when. I'll have to be some type of stream that we'll probably end up doing. So something worthwhile. Maybe Super Bowl. Maybe I'll do it then. And even though some of the names aren't as big, you still got to be able to build NXT and build that platform. And as you look at all the names, you would assume that Braun Breaker seems like the most obvious to like move up. But also, too, if he's like the face of NXT, you want to make sure you have another face to take his place, or another, couple other guys that get better and get a little bit more time, even though he may not be the champion at this point. But, it's like they feel that they need to keep him there to kind of keep that brand relevant. And I get it. All right, here we go. And I ended up going to NXT TakeOver Portland, and whenever they do the NXT takeovers, those are phenomenal. Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett, I got some bad news. We're doing Dusty Cup final. So Corbin and Breaker, Hayes and Williams. All right, Carmelo Hayes coming out first. Whoop, that trick. Again, fans love catchphrases, and I think like WWE, sometimes they'll have to wait to see how the fans react. But even if Trick Williams isn't their favorite wrestler, people like chanting, people like catchphrases. So sometimes when you get someone like Trick Williams, who may not be the best on the mic, the best in the ring, but when you got a catchy catchphrase and it kind of sticks, sometimes that'll get you a push in wrestling when they didn't have any idea that the fans would react that way. But again, catchphrases are everything. So it's all about your swag and your persona. And if you do have a catchphrase that the fans like to go along with to kind of give you some extra hype. Daniel in the building. What's good? Let's go, baby. NXT Vengeance Day. So I imagine this will go for about 3 hours. And there's nothing really going on. All the other NBA matchups are bootios. I mean, we got Blazers, Knicks in a half hour. But, I mean, is that really going to be that good? I would rather watch this. So here we are. And then we'll get into the NHL slate. For whatever weird reason, the Kraken don't play for almost like a week. So I figured that once we came back, from the All-Star break, we would have everyone available, but the Kraken don't even play their first game until I think like Thursday or Friday or Saturday. Maybe is it Saturday? Saturday is the first game. So I don't know why it's like that, but so we'll be doing non-Kraken streams until Saturday, but tomorrow we'll end up doing the Avalanche and the Rangers at 4. Only 2 games on the NHL slate tomorrow. So that's kind of weird that they're doing it that way, but at least we have some wrestling to do. Oh, they're coming out with the motorcycles here with Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker. Okay. And we got to get those likes up. Hopefully we can go from 10 and then go to 20, and then we can, start at 50, go to a hundo, and hopefully we can end up breaking that depending on if we get some goats to come through. All right, baby. Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, Dusty Cup final. Let's go. Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic final, baby. All right, here we go. I wonder how too loud is too loud for my TV. It's at 82. Let's go, Braun. Let's go, Mello. I'm actually really happy that there at least something positive to watch. You know, anything but the NBA if possible. So oh, 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 oh. All right, Braun.
Well, this match right here is Act 1 of a 2-act play tonight for Trick Williams. 0 chances.
Whoop that trick, baby.
This match has to have at least 1 eye on tonight's main event for the NXT Championship. We talk about Dustin's comment too, but take a look around at all 4 of these superstars.
I imagine Braun Breaker probably is a little disappointed that he's not on Raw or SmackDown on a regular basis just yet, but he'll have his time. You know, everything is storyline, and, you know, you don't want to go up to, you know, Raw and SmackDown and then all of a sudden you're not on TV at all, or they have some kind of like shitty, you know, rivalry that they have set up for him if they rush him too quick. So you don't want to build a guy to bury a guy. So you want to build him up to make sure that once he goes up, that the rivalry is a good one to, you know, get his name bigger and bigger and bigger in the WWE universe. Oh, snap, out of the ring, both of them. Yeah, but I went digging through a lot of my collectibles, found a lot of wrestling collectibles, found a lot of old school starting lineups, McFarlane's. So that's what I've been up to pretty much all day, you know, doing some digging, ended up taking a couple walks with Paisley, spending time with her, and then just getting ready for this NXT Vengeance Day, baby.
Look, you were crowned king of the ring back in 2015. You had to compete twice in one night. Exactly what Trick Williams has to do here tonight. How difficult is that going to be for Trick? That was one of the most difficult nights of my career.
And I also imagine Baron Corbin probably isn't too thrilled to be on, you know, NXT. But again, you know, if you're going to go from Raw or SmackDown to NXT, but you're going to go to NXT and you're going to be like a focal point and you're going to be like, you know, one of the main pieces that's there, then you'll take that, you know, whatever it is. It's rather than getting buried on Raw and SmackDown and, you know, doing jobber matches or not even having a match, and then at least being able to have some kind of TV time. And that's kind of the give and take that you have to go through. Little sloppiness out of Trick Williams and Mello so far. Hit him with the fadeaway. Get him, Trick. Oh, glancing blow. Corbin. Nice. Oh, that was a good sell. That was a good sell. There's quite a few fuck ups. You know, Trick Williams had a glancing blow, then kind of a fuck up with the neck breaker. Mello kind of with a couple fuck ups. But that was cool. All right, Braun. And even if Braun doesn't have the belt on him, I mean, that's the biggest, you know, star and the biggest piece on NXT, hands down. You know, that's a guy that you could actually see with like the IC title or the tag titles with the right, you know, teammate, or, you know, maybe one day, you know, he'll have a championship belt, you know, through the world heavyweight belt or universal one day, you know. But nice clothesline by Corbin. Shout out to all the people watching on Twitter/X and all the people watching on YouTube as well. It's on the Peacock app if you're wondering where it's at. Same thing with every pay-per-view that usually is through NXT or WWE until we get to Monday Night Raw status in 2025, where we'll be able to do that on Netflix. I'm actually excited about that. That'll give us an opportunity, hopefully, to be able to just watch it all at the same time. And then if we decide to do a live stream on it, then it'll give us an opportunity to do something other than the NHL or NBA on that particular day. Or if the Monday Night Football matchup is just horrendous, and gives us options. Options are good. Corbin tags in Braun Breaker. It's like too bad Rick and Scott Steiner aren't wrestling still. If they could end up having some kind of faction. I mean, obviously, if Rick and Scott weren't as old as they are now, but, if they were just a little bit older, but obviously it wouldn't really make that much sense since, Braun is the son. But it would have just been cool to be able to see the three of them, in there together at some point without the other guys looking too old that they couldn't move. That way we could kind of see the Scott, Rick, and Braun all in line together, and it would be a cool faction for sure. Good old Big Papa Pump. Oh, big clothesline.
Devastating lariat from Braun Breaker. I was getting ready to say was Baron, who might need Braun to finish some business here tonight and finally get his name on the Dusty Cup.
Yeah, I spoke to Baron earlier tonight about this. Lost it the first time in 2015. Won't happen again, pal.
Float over off the suplex into another cup.
Braun doing the push-ups. 2. All right, Braun. The thing is, though, is if you bring Braun Breaker up to the main roster when they feel they have the right feud in place for him, then you got to start building someone else as being like the top dog. You can put a belt on anybody, but just because you put a belt on someone doesn't mean the crowd is going to react the way that you think they are. But I'm curious on what type of feud Breaker would have, and who it would be with. I don't know. Breaker and Roman would be kind of cool, I guess. I mean, I don't really like watching Roman wrestle that much anymore, but I guess if I was going to have, Braun go against someone, just like it's based off body size and wrestling style, I guess that would be the, most obvious big name guy for him to go against. But we may never see that match. Or we may not see that match for a long, long time. Nice punches by the midsection there by Mello. And NXT, it kind of reminds me of like ECW, where it's like you may not have like the best, wrestlers, and they might not be as popular, but at least you're gonna get the effort, and you may see some unique moves that you haven't seen before, or you haven't seen them in a long time. And that's really what it's about. It's like name recognition is one thing, but good wrestling, I mean, that's what it's about. Obviously, good microphone skills to keep the crowd engaged, but good quality, fast-paced, up-tempo wrestling. Tag to the corner, Trick Williams. Baron Corbin. Nice athleticism by Trick. Yeah, it's crazy too where like WWE is now and NXT. I feel like even with the whole Vince McMahon scandal, like I feel like AEW is kind of, and I'm an AEW guy. Like I like wrestling altogether. I like everything. But I feel like AEW has fallen off like really bad in the last, 6 months, based off injuries and, just not having enough star power, to keep their shows going. to compete with WWE. I mean, every once in a while, do they have a good Dynamite? Do they end up having good shows throughout the week and good matches? Yeah, but it doesn't have the same type of pop. If you don't have Kenny Omega wrestling every week, if you don't have the Young Bucks or Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, so you got to have, the main guys wrestle, and they have to wrestle often, and the matches have to be good. And if you got guys hurt, and then you got a bunch of these scrubs and other jobbers that are getting, matches, and they're not really doing that great of a job, it's hard to, get people to go out of their way to watch, those shows unless you absolutely love AEW. So. But I feel like Raw, SmackDown, NXT have gained some pretty good momentum, based off the injuries that have happened with AEW. For a while, it was, AEW was winning it, for a couple years. Especially during COVID. I think AEW was winning the ratings, and they were doing a better job in storylines. But then after we got Triple H to kind of take over, then WWE has been firm control, I think, of the better shows. Hopefully AEW can, pluck away some of the female stars at some point to even out their female division. But, if their superstar, guys can't stay healthy, they're going to fall back. Ooh, look at this. Breaker says, you want that? No way. Look at him. I'm going to pick up both. No way. No way. Yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, that was cool. That was cool. All right, Braun. Braun, like I said, he's got the look, and I mean, he's not like built like necessarily like a heavyweight. He's like a shorter heavyweight. He looks more of like an IC title kind of guy. He's not like, built like 6'8", 275 or anything like that. So he's a little undersized based on what he looks like on TV, but you definitely would put him in that heavyweight class, even though he's built more of like an IC wrestler. But he definitely has the it factor. Oh, Trick Williams is busted open.
Finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. The NXT Universe trying to rally Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, as Braun Breaker may be going for broke.
Breaker at the top. High risk for Breaker. You're not going to see Scott. Oh, baby. Are you kidding me? Wow. Are you kidding me? It's one thing for Braun to be at the top rope and just like jump off, but to like do the front flip stuff, to do the stuff, that most wrestlers would be afraid to do, wanting to, they don't want to break their neck or get injured or whatnot, or take a hard fall. That's pretty goddamn impressive right there. Not only to have that confidence, but to be able to pull that move off. Mello at the top. Man, Williams is fucking up left and right. Like anytime Trick Williams ends up doing a move, right? Anytime he ends up doing a move, it's not clean. It's like they could say whoop that trick, and it could be a catchy catchphrase, but he's just not as smooth and clean as Mello or Corbin or Braun. It's like you got to be a little bit more smooth with your moveset. It's like if you're going to do a neck breaker, you got to hang on to the guy's neck. You can't like have one piece of his hair. You have to make it look believable, and that's a reason why he's probably on NXT and not on on Raw and SmackDown yet. Like, there's nice things that, Trick Williams does, but besides like the whole, whoop that trick, he's got a long ways to go. You got a cool catchphrase, but your wrestling ability doesn't match your catchphrase. Well, normally Baron Corbin's going to be like a scrub. He's going to be like a guy that's mid, or a guy that's a scrub, or a guy that, is just a guy that goes against the top guys and loses. But it's kind of cool to be able to have someone like him where he already knows his role. But again, whether you got to be a company man or not, but if you're willing to be able to, be flexible, hey, it might not be the, universal championship. It may not be the IC title. It may not be like that ultimate thing that you want as a wrestler. But again, anything accomplishment wise, you'll take it. And it's cool to actually see Baron Corbin on NXT and actually having some good matches rather than him like being on Raw or SmackDown. And then it's just stupid, like there's no point of him even being there. He's just another guy with wasted space, with not enough TV time for a wrestler like him. So look at this preview. That was a good opening match. All right, I wonder what the next match is going to end up being. Are we going to go NXT Women's Champion, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez? I do like Roxanne Perez a lot. And then NXT North American Champion Oba Femi versus Dragon Lee. I really like Dragon Lee, just like Rey Mysterio. Like, I like a Lucha Libre style. So whether it be Dragon Lee on NXT or Vikingo, if I can see him on AEW or any of the other shows, like I like that fast up tempo, Psychosis, La Parka, super crazy, like that type of ECW, WCW with like the cruiserweight division. I like watching stuff like that. Hoovy Juice, Juventud Guerrera, give me some of that. Yeah, Corbin and him as a team for Braun, actually, it works. You know what I mean? They have to be able to find a role for him. So, I mean, hell, you can put Braun with anybody, but it's just kind of, saving Baron Corbin's career and probably being a little bit of a mentor to some of those other guys that have been, in the business a little bit longer than them. Sometimes they have to bring guys over and the females over, from Raw and SmackDown to kind of mentor the younger crowd and to get them up to speed. So, well, so far so good. That first match wasn't too bad. I think on a scale of a 1 to 10, I think that was a solid 8. I'm not sure if I would call it an 8.5, a 9, or a 9.5, or a 10. I don't know if I would probably say 8, 8.5, especially with Braun Breaker doing a few like surprising moves that I didn't anticipate him doing. Just that one move from the top rope and doing the front flip onto the guys below. I mean, that adds at least a 0.5 extra in my book. So not sure if that was as good if there was some more double team spots that were more creative, or if Trick Williams and Mello were a little bit smoother out there, then maybe that would have been a 9. But I think a solid 8, 8.5, that's pretty good for an NXT pay-per-view opening match. I mean, could it have been a little bit better? Yeah, but I think Mello and Trick Williams, they were a little sloppy. You could say that match had a little sloppiness, to it. So, but overall, pretty good though. Odin Sun in the building. What's good? Commanders hiring Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in Washington. We got to be able to see who ends up getting a new quarterback. Like the quarterback class this year and next year are going to be like really, really exciting. Like college football was already like peak exciting. But now with NIL, and then with Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA going to the Big Ten, and then now with 2 super conferences in the SEC and the Big Ten, it's going to be really fun to be able to see how things kind of shape out there. And then also on the NFL side with the coaching, the coaching carousel that we have, and to see what quarterbacks, go to the Saints, the Bucks, the Falcons, the Bears, the Redskins. Yes, I said Redskins, which they should actually go back to that name. It would be much doper having the Redskins and the Cowboys and the Redskins rather than the, Washington football team, Washington Commanders. Go back to the Redskins. That's what they should do. And plus all the tribal people, they like that shit. It's like it's paying homage and paying honor to a tribal chief. And we ain't talking Roman Reigns. And if you really think about it, if you go back and look at the Redskin helmet and their gear that they wore in like the 80s and 90s, it was actually incredibly dope. I mean, I'm not really into like the burgundy and the white and the yellow. That's their color scheme. But I think for what they did with the, logo on the helmet, it was one of the better looking helmets in the league, whether you like Washington or hate them, as far as like the look. So Dusty Classic, baby. Let's go. Yeah, so first match was Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. All right, about 8.5. And you got to see Baron, do the Baron thing and be kind of like that guy, but definitely saw some slip-ups and some fuck-ups by Hayes and Trick Williams. More by Trick Williams. I think I saw it with Carmelo. Maybe he had like one that was kind of could have been a little bit smoother because you got to not only do the moves, you got to sell well. But then with Trick Williams, there was at least 3 or 4, where it's like you're doing a neck breaker and then your hands aren't even on the dude's neck. Like, you're doing like one of these and it's not even close to the guy's face. Like I know they're going to be moving camera angles and I know you're not going to hit anybody with a closed fist, but you got to make it at least look somewhat believable. You can't be going like this and the guy's head is like way over there, or it's like not even a glancing blow. You can't even say that on TV. So, but overall pretty good. Braun going off the top rope and doing that front flip, that surprised the hell out of me. So Megan in the building. What's good? Yeah, I don't know what to think about the flag football, type of thing. I guess like if you're gonna make a mockery, of the NBA and all these other sports that do these like all-star festivities and Pro Bowl type things, I guess, if you're not gonna have them, tackle, why are you wearing, helmets and all that if you're not even trying? So I didn't watch the Pro Bowl, but on a couple of the highlights that I did see, like with Tyreek, and if you're just going to make it more like NFL street style, where you're going to be just wearing hats backwards and you're just kind of, like throwing it in the backyard and you're just kind of playing flag football. Well, I guess if you're going to go that route, you might as well have done that from the very beginning instead of having them wear helmets and do this like two-hand touch type of thing, if you're not actually going to play. But from what I saw, would I be willing to sit through a full game of that? No. But from the highlights that I did see, it looked okay. It looked like it was more watchable than previous Pro Bowls. I can give them that. Can you go to where it's live? You should be able to go on Peacock, and it gives you a chance to start from beginning and live. Right now, Dijak is about to come out. He's right there at the entrance, and he's looking down from the WrestleMania sign there, and it went from black and white. So, yes, Dijak is just coming out. He just took his first like 3 or 4 steps. So I don't know where you need to go, but that's where I'm at. He's just coming out if you want to get to that point. So that way we can be at the same spot if it started from the beginning. And first match was worth watching with Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, and Trick Williams for the Dusty Cup final. Just could have been a little bit cleaned up, kind of like in the Women's Rumble where you saw a couple fuck-ups. Did it ruin the Women's Rumble? No, but you definitely saw a few wrestlers fuck up a little bit. And, fuck-ups are, especially if you, got the spotlight on you, there's no really way to hide around it. If you fuck up, you fuck up. So. All right. Talk soon. Gacy coming out. Gacy got the mankind mask. Have a nice day. He's like, Gacy's a gimmick. I'm crazy. I kind of like Gacy's vibe. Obviously, we already know you got to have a different type of personality and you have to be a different type of character, I still will never, obviously with the Keith Lee and the Dijak matches, even from NXT TakeOver Portland and those amazing matches they had. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to match that type of intensity. Like for me, that's Dijak's best rival, Keith Lee, when Keith Lee was in his, movement, and they fumbled the bag with Keith Lee on both promotions, on WWE and in, AEW. Like Keith Lee should have gotten a little bit more, but at least he was able to get a belt or a couple belts for at least a couple weeks, But I love the Dijakovic when he was called by that, and then the old school Keith Lee. And this was years ago, about 4 years ago. So it's been a minute since we had that rivalry, but God, they put on some great matches. Dijak looking like Sting out there with that leather coat. I did see that. Yes, I did see that. He says that it'll give him a chance to lose 100 pounds, right? He wants to lose 100 pounds, and what a better way to lose 100 pounds to do a death match and then call it a career at 60. I mean, I don't know who he would be able to go against, I mean, I guess if he went against like a Japanese wrestler, it would be dope because it would have to be like an NJPW and it would have to be like barbed wire and blood and stuff, So I think if, anytime you're going to have like a Terry Funk, Mick Foley type of figure, you can go against another like older white dude, but no one's going to want to see Hogan in the ring or Ric Flair. And if it ends up being like an older Japanese dude, they probably still can wrestle. They're not going to be all like, crippled and shit out there and in a wheelchair. They're actually still punching, kicking, and grinding it out. So, but I wouldn't mind watching. I mean, obviously, Mick is way past the prime, but knowing his personality to put his body on the line, he definitely would have a few spots, with thumbtacks, chairs, ladders, stuff on fire, barbed wire, exploding barbed wire, fire on the tables. I mean, whatever it took, jumping off balconies. I mean, who cares if he breaks a bone? He don't give a shit, like. That's what his legacy is all about, being the most hardcore wrestler of all time. One more like to 10. Let's get there, baby. Oh, Gacy. That was sweet. There we go. Yeah. That was a very Kevin Owens-like right there. And like I said, that's why with wrestling, a lot of times people like the guys that are all roided up. They have the look. They got the muscles. They got the 8-pack. They got the 10-pack. They got the traps. They got the look, right? But the thing is if you can't talk on the mic, all that goes away. And honestly, if you get a guy that might have more of a dad bod, like Gacy, but then he does cooler moves and then maybe is better on the mic, he'll make up for some of the physique based off the mic skills, the personality, and maybe some of the hardcore moves they do in the ring. So that's why it's always cool to be able to see different wrestlers, different age, different race, different background, and there isn't necessarily a set look to scream, hey, greatness. Greatness is everywhere. You just have to be able to appreciate what greatness is. Ooh, look at these. Oh, you got all kinds of, what kind of toys you got going here? Oh, toy soldier. Oh, Gacy going crazy. Finley in the building. What's good? Yeah. See, it looks like my room right now, except I got box stuff. Oh, yeah. I've been digging. I've been finding Joe Montana's, Bo Jackson's. I found my big kick by Dijak. That was sweet. Gacy, check your noggin. CTE all day. But I found the Dark Knight Heath Ledger figure, and I remember buying it, thinking, oh, this will be worth some good money. And then obviously he passed away, and They didn't make very many Heath Ledger toys, obviously, with everything that happened with them, but I will always dig The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. And the packaging of the toys is very cool because it's got like this, almost like someone smashed their knuckle into the figure. So it's like hollow at the top where it says The Dark Knight, just the way they did the packaging. It's so cool. And it's got Heath Ledger with the makeup and everything. And he's got the rocket launcher inside the package. Like that one point in The Dark Knight where they're in the cars that are moving. And then he fucking tries to blow up the other one. Love that shit. I'll have to go back and watch both of those movies now. But I haven't seen that in a minute. But it's always cool when you can end up finding, a figure that's worth like $50 to $100. Most figures aren't going to be worth that much. Most are going to be 20 or less, but it was good digging those things up. Dijak saying, stay down. Renee in the building. What's good? Yeah, I felt like the skills competition and, could have been a little bit better. NHL All-Star Games still gave effort, more than the Pro Bowl or the, two-hand touch flag football or the NBA. But I don't know. MLB, like after, soaking in, like as far as like All-Star Game potential, like MLB by far is the best. Like there's nothing that compares to the Home Run Derby and the actual All-Star Game. I mean, hit him with that garbage can. Nice job, Gacy. Paul Orndorff. I actually was watching old WWE matches prior to this. I watched a 1987 Survivor Series with Team Andre the Giant versus Team Hulk Hogan, and had Bam Bam Bigelow on Hogan's team, Ravishing Rick Rude on Andre the Giant's team, and a few others. Awesome. And then also watched the Mega Powers with Hulk Hogan and Macho Man together with Elizabeth going against Andre the Giant at SummerSlam and $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Ted DiBiase is so fucking underrated. The guy got beat up all the time, and he was so good. Like, people remember him with the $100 bills and Virgil and putting the money in the mouth. But if you actually go back, there was just so many, guys that were larger than life back then. Like, I remember messaging my buddy earlier today saying that, like, this was when wrestling, and then the guys that were actually wrestling, like Hogan and Andre the Giant into the table. That was cool. Gacy flinging Dijaks into the table. That was sweet. But it was like you actually felt like wrestlers in the 80s and 90s were really larger than life, but primarily in the 80s. When you saw Andre the Giant, when you saw Hulk Hogan, even with the receding hairline and that, bald head, and then the hair just on the side flowing down, and there was just something magical about wrestling at that time with Macho Man and Elizabeth. And I mean, even the jobber and the mid-level wrestlers were fucking so cool. Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Jake the Snake Roberts and, the $1 Million Man, like everything was just so awesome. And gosh, man, I could just watch that stuff for hours on end. And I remember I ended up watching one, and then I was like, oh, and then I end up trying to find something else, like Honky Tonk Man. I'll get these like, flashbacks of like something that I watch. Ooh, Tatanka. Oh, let me try to find a Tatanka match. And then I was looking for Legion of Doom Road Warriors, trying to find a really good either NWA match when they first came in like the late 70s, early 80s, or WWF or WCW type stuff, Road Warriors or Legion of Doom stuff. But I want to get it before Animal Hawk get too old, because then they went through they went through the wardrobe change where they were still wearing the spikes, but they had like little figures on them. It was a little different. And then like they had other people with them, like Sonny as like a ring manager, and Ahmed Johnson dressing up. Oh, shit! Oh! Wow. Wow. Okay. That's one thing about NXT that, even though it's the lowest promotion like ECW compared to WCW and WWF at the time, I always like hardcore wrestling because you're going to see some, innovation. You may see something that you've never seen before, and it's all about entertainment. And after a while, watching WWF matches where it was punch, kick, leg drop, body slam, pin, that gets old. And even on the WCW side, sometimes you need a little bit more, And sometimes when you get these pay-per-views like NXT TakeOver or Vengeance, it kind of feels like an ECW November to Remember, or something of that nature, or Anarchy Rules, or something of that nature. Living Dangerously. I know some of y'all watch fucking ECW and know what those pay-per-views are. I know I'm not the only one. I got them on VHS. I got them on DVD. Oh, Tessa. That's a good name drop. In AWA, that's awesome. Survivor Series definitely needs to go back to the 5-on-5 format. Like I said, sometimes they get too cute with these new formats, with Team Giannis, Team LeBron, Team McDavid, Team Matthews. It's like, can we just go back to East, West, and tradition? And I feel like if you don't go away from tradition, it means more. Or if you go away from it, realize it's not as good. And if it's not as good and it's recognized, go back to when it was great. Dijak's like, my eyeballs. Duct tape on his eyes. Hopefully his eyebrows don't come off. Did they come off? Did his eyebrows come off? Oh, could you imagine? Oh, he's pulling a Bray Wyatt. Oh, my God. War Games. Love that. Guilty as charged. See, that's why you and me, Odin, would be like best friends, man. I swear, we have everything. Yeah, you're around the same age. I feel that all the stuff that you like, besides the only main big difference is music, for what you really love, as your number one. But other than that, everything else lines up, man. You get it. You get it, bro. You get it. I got a Case Logic in here that's got 10 fucking ECW DVDs. I got some FMW ones in there too. I love watching old school Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki. And then you get to see BWO and some of the other stuff on there. That was a good match. But I can watch wrestling more than college hoops, more than NBA, more than NHL, hell, even more than baseball. And I love baseball more than NASCAR. The wrestling love for me is bar none. Nothing is higher. Besides NFL, college football, that's all even. They're at the very, very top, even with each other. And then right below will be, Mariners, Major League Baseball, Kraken, NASCAR, right underneath them. And then obviously college hoops, and then NBA somewhere in the gutter. But wrestling never gets old to me. I fuck, man. I remember when we had Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, I would, beg my dad, after, the divorce and everything, and my dad ended up moving, that I would, just get a shitload of Mountain Dew. And I would go and try to rent as many as I could, as many as my dad would let me, and then I would just stay up all night. So it's whether this was in the 90s or in the 80s, and I'm trying to get the SummerSlam 87 and, Bash at the Beach 94. I really tried to really get on my history. And this was back when I was young too, and there would be times where I would do, 12 hours straight. I'd start at maybe 6, 7 p.m., with the chips and the Mountain Dew, and fuck, I'd go through the whole pay-per-view. As soon as it ended, put the new tape in, and then just go after it. Good memories. And then obviously when you're super young, then you'd have the wrestling ring, and you'd have the figures and stuff. Oh yeah. Yes. Dijak is actually good enough to be on Raw and SmackDown. If you wanted to give him a push. Like, it just depends on how you want to give the push and who you want to give the push to, Yeah, I watched it.
The calendars will be available on WWE Shop and Fanatics, so everyone can get their hands on the hottest item in NXT.
Yeah, it ended up being a good race. I love NASCAR. I was actually kind of pissed that because if I would have known that that was going to happen, we would have done the NASCAR and I wouldn't have done the NHL stream. I would have just not even done it. And we could have done the NASCAR stream yesterday, but I got a chance to watch it with Paisley and, I watched the whole entire thing and I enjoyed it. It's like sometimes, when you don't have something for a while and then you miss it and then you get it back, in your veins again, you're like, yes, NASCAR, yes, baseball. You're like, yes, you get that feeling where you just need to be able to watch that, whatever that favorite thing is. And, we get baseball here in a couple weeks, which is nice. So even if it ends up being like Cactus League or whatnot, but I believe it's Padres, Dodgers, and it's coming up really quick. So I can't wait for baseball to start. So that'll give another thing that we can do. Dodgers, Padres in 18 days on ESPN. So it'll be on a Thursday, Dodgers versus Padres, but it's on at 12:10. So it'll be early, but hell, I'm doing it. And then some of the matchups end up being a little bit later, but most of them end up being a little early. Friday also at noon. Dodgers, Padres again. And then Mariners on Saturday at noon. I'll have to do that. But yeah, we'll sprinkle in some, but it's nice to be able to see baseball is pretty much going to be on the daily at that time. So not that far off. And NASCAR just started. So as some things are starting to end, we got still things, coming up. So, all right. What do we got? What do we got next on the card? Fabulous Freebirds. Yeah, but it's always nice to go back and watch like old school stuff, whether it's ECW, WCW, or old school WWF. But, for me, I was born in 82. So anything that's like 85, to 92 is going to be like really special. That early when wrestling was peaking and you get to see like pre-internet, like, right at the beginning of the video game era, and to be able to, soak everything in pretty much from that time period from like wrestling will always be at its peak from like 85 to 99. I don't think you're ever going to get it any better than that point. So, yeah, let's get those likes up. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. And hopefully we can get some goats to come through. NXT Women's Championship, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. NXT North American Champion Oba Femi versus Dragon Lee. We'll see where we go. Yeah, you never can count Denny out with NASCAR. And obviously, when you kind of see the flow of that race. I mean, if you actually watched it, Ty Gibbs, you can tell he'll win a race or two this season. Very, very strong car. Just kind of crapped out of him at the very, very end. And anytime, you end up racing hard, sometimes the car will blow up or you'll end up having an epic motor fail or some type of engine failure or a mechanical part that fails and whatnot. But I was pretty impressed. It's like he was running up towards the front, for a good chunk of that race. And that's a good sign. I don't think anyone saw that coming. And that's always nice to be able to see the next wave of guys stepping up, whether it's an NXT or NASCAR, and you're like, okay, I can see the vision. Like he did pretty good, and it wasn't for just like 5 or 10 laps. Like, he was doing pretty good for a good chunk of that race, and so good potential out of Ty Gibbs. And then obviously down the stretch, you had a lot of guys battling, and it could have been Kurt Busch. You had quite a few, battling it out towards the end, but Denny finding a way, and obviously Joey Logano. It's like you got to be able to make sure you're taking chances at the right point. And kind of end at the end of that race when you get into like so many cautions, when you're starting to kind of like pull away, then you get that, horrible caution maybe with like 10 laps to go, and that could be the difference between hanging on and winning if there was no caution or someone taking your spot. All right, the battle of the families. Yeah, they did bikes for the Baron Corbin and the Braun Breaker. I don't know, you didn't get to see the beginning, but they came out and they're and there's an actual motorcycles. OTM. I think I saw these guys in San Andreas or Vice City.
WWE is proud to support the Ad Council and their Love Has No Labels campaign. Celebrate this Black History Month and visit www.na/shop/BHM or scan the QR code on the screen to purchase your own WWE Heritage Month merchandise. $7.50 will be donated for each sale to support Ad Council. Wanted to make the impact.
Yeah. I mean, obviously for someone like Denny Hamlin, if he were to win, obviously it's like that one thing, he's like certain guys, when they've been racing a long, long time, you're always just waiting. When's my turn? Especially when there's so many quality pieces and then the up and coming pieces and the superstar pieces. But at least they don't have to worry about one top piece, who obviously is retired now and is in the booth with Clint Boyer now, who was in the booth last night. So they don't got to worry about him anymore. With Kevin Harvick. All right, who's winning the battle of the families here? Oh, for real? Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Oh, booty bumped her. Fucking hit her with the booty bump. Hit her with the booty bump. Went down with the booty dump. So let's watch the replay. Booty up. Booty down.
They've been around the block a few times, but there's a lot of pressure on OTM, especially right now. This is some bright lights.
Rocco Nima entering. There's Tony. Ansel, that's a cheap shot.
And the ballistic Lucian Price. He is the occupant of the grid. You simply cannot get a handle on that guy.
The tag was made now. Rocco Nima is legal. Cutting orders and just stopping right through the
in the Guido gear. Little Guido. Crime time. I was waiting for someone to say that. A little bit of crime time. Nice body slam there. But especially if you, have been watching wrestling for 20, 30, 40 years, to see kind of the evolution on how it was and, where it's at today. But I don't think there's anybody wrestling like today that is like larger than life. Like the larger in life generation, that's already come and gone. And that's why people are so famous and so big, like Hogan and Andre the Giant and Macho Man and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and, Flair. It's just, based off that generation. I mean, hell, think about it. Even like the mid-level guys get like insane amount of love. Like, it don't even matter. If you're Hulk Hogan, fine. But if you're Honky Tonk Man, you're not a scrub. If you're Brutus the Barber Beefcake, you're still getting mad love from the hardcore fans. Like, like it was different. Like, I feel like it was just a different time period. Name recognition is just character development and just where wrestling was and the way that wrestling was, cheered for and appreciated by fans. Oh, nice double team move there. Like, if you can just see like the crowd reaction, like in stuff from like the 80s and 90s, it's just wild to see. Like to see like a whole crowd, like, just like locked and loaded. You're on it, bro. You're on it. And anytime we have a chance to do wrestling, we're gonna do it on the channel. So I got the Northwest Wrestling Fanatics. That's like our secondary channel, but I'm not going to get into content and building that one up until we can build this one up, obviously much, much further. So little Guido. Sarah with $1. She wants to make sure that I'm not in air for dinner. I appreciate that. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. A little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. $1.99 to go. Appreciate that. Anything counts. And then we'll be doing hockey tomorrow. It's kind of a weird schedule with no Kraken like almost all week, which is a little disappointing. But we'll do Avalanche Rangers, which will be an awesome matchup on Monday. Tuesday, Avalanche Devils at 4:30 or Oilers Golden Knights at 7. That's what we're going to do on Tuesday. We'll see if Odin's son can make it on that Tuesday game. Wednesday, Lightning and Rangers or Stars Maple Leafs. Thursday, Flames Devils. Golden Knights Coyotes. Lightning Islanders. Avalanche Hurricanes. Probably Flames Devils, Avalanche Hurricanes, or Golden Knights. And then Friday, Rangers, Blackhawks. Saturday, Kraken, Flyers. I got to wait till fucking Saturday to watch Kraken? That's crazy. Why the hell are we having the All-Star break, and then why did the Kraken get an additional week off? What's up with that? The Brood. Tuesday, you can? Okay, so I would rather do that game. And that's earlier too. Avalanche, Devils at home. It's a part of the ESPN Plus Hockey Night. And then the Oilers and Golden Knights. That's at 7. I don't care about the Oilers as much, but I know they're a fun watch with Edmonton. Golden Knights are the Golden Knights, but that's at 7. So people would have to watch at 9 or 10. That's late. So let's do Avalanche Devils on Tuesday. That way I can do your team and I get the Avalanche. It'll be a 2-1. That way I don't got to, stay up super late and eat dinner at like 10 or 11 at night. So that works out perfect. All right, I'll get you some Cody Rhodes. You want some Stardust? And what do we think about the whole Dwayne Johnson thing? Dwayne Johnson went from a guy that was loved universally, but then now being on the board on TKO, Vince being out of the question is obviously for what he did allegation-wise, we get it. But then now, you're starting to think, okay, depending on what's true and what's rumor, does he have any pull? Does him and the other advisors, storyline-wise, obviously we'd rather see Cody and Roman at WrestleMania, but if we were going to get Cody and Roman was still going to win and it's not going to end, with Cody winning, then we're not going to get storyline wise what the fans want. So now they're bitching and moaning, including me, that we get Rock and Roman. And the reason that people don't like it and they don't like The Rock in this instance is because you feel like you're taking Cody's spot, but also we know that if Rock is wrestling Roman, Rock isn't winning. So we already know the outcome. So then that makes it suck. So that's a part of it too, right? At least with Cody going against Roman, you believe that he might get it. When it's Rock, he's not because he's not a full-time wrestler, right? So, but again, long-term storytelling, but obviously it's going to make people love Stone Cold more and hate Rock hate Rock more, love and like Stone Cold it'll like go from like to love. Like I feel like Stone Cold Rock love now is like Stone Cold, wrestling with Kevin Owens and trying to make that something, and then now it's like The Rock is going to be looked at instead of being like a face and a heel that we love. Now is going to be looked in the wrestling business as, I don't want to say douchebag, but because like obviously we don't know what's going on. we don't know if The Rock really truly has pull with him and his advisors now with TKO. I mean, is it for what's best for business, to be able to try to, get rid of this Vince story and have The Rock, because that would be a bigger thing. But, you could be like, well, Rock Roman is big. Cody Roman's bigger. And that's why people are mad. Like, The Rock is The Rock, but it's not bigger than Cody being in his prime now and having the guy beat Roman, be the guy in Cody to finish the story. Obviously Dusty Rhodes can't get it done. Obviously Goldust, not good enough, right? Always a wrestler that was mid, right? But not like superstar Undertaker level. You were Goldust. You were always going to be IC or lower, right? So to get a guy like Cody Rhodes that was always kind of mid, but then he put himself at the top on AEW and actually wrestled like a main card guy. He could main card in AEW, and he was actually awesome. And then and then he earned the opportunity. Throw him out of the ring. And then he earned the opportunity to be main event in WWE and in AEW, and he earned it. And then Torn Peck earned it more, and then now has become the face of the company, the John Cena of 2024. Yeah! There we go. All right. Let's go. Dude, this is awesome so far. And I feel like when we watch wrestling, when the bigger names are there, we have more expectations. The family. But I feel with like Cody Rhodes and being with Dusty Rhodes' dad and Dustin Rhodes, like with Goldust, as far as like a face is concerned, he comes across as cooler than John Cena. You know what I mean? Like when you see John Cena back in the day, there's a lot of people that weren't really about the John Cena life. Like he was the face, but maybe we didn't really like his wrestling style. It's like we can respect, the Make-A-Wish stuff. We can respect all the titles. We can respect all the gold. Hell, I even have some John Cena merch from some shows. I got a purple headband in the plastic still. I still got the wristbands from a show from a long time ago, never worn, still in the package. But I never was a John Cena guy. I mean, give me The Rock, give me someone else, but I never really was a Cena guy. But with Rhodes, I feel he connects to people like more, and we enjoy his wrestling style, even if you don't like him. Like I feel with John Cena, if you don't like him, it's like, okay, I don't like the character. He should have went heel, but he was the ultimate face for Vince, right? But I feel like his wrestling style was kind of like an 80s wrestler or a 90s wrestler. He was kind of slow. It's like he was kind of a slower paced wrestler. Did he do some moves that were cool with the F5 and other things? Yeah. Obviously we know Brock Lesnar with his F5s and the FUs, and there was certain moves that he did, but I feel with like Cody, it's like now it's like regardless if you love him or you hate him, you don't hate him more than Cena, at least back when Cena was doing his thing as the face, because that's when you can tell when guys are elite. I feel with like Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, those are two great examples that could be face or heel and get cheered for at the highest level and booed. But when you're getting booed, they still love you. There's a difference. Like when they're booing you, they still kind of secretly like you. They're still rooting for you. Big facts. So far, so good with the PPV. Matt in the building. Yeah. But for me, I can name drop. I don't even need to go on the internet. It's just based on the wrestling figures, the memories, and collecting cards back in the day. I got an Ultimate Warrior here in a bag. I got the Jimmy Snuka. I got a Snuka in the bag or in the drawer. Sting. But I don't have any regular Stings. The only Sting figure I own is Wolfpack NWO Sting, which is kind of ironic, but I don't have any of the older ones where he had like the red, white, and blue face paint in WCW. I actually kind of liked it when he, did the baseball bat thing. That was a cool era where he could dress up as, kind of like Brandon Lee and pull that, that look off perfectly. Patrick Mahomes Sr., drunk driving, DUI, 3 times now. Distraction from the Super Bowl. Something to get your attention off a particular female. Vader. Time. There's a couple Vader figures that have been pretty cool over the years. Like they have that, that famous photo where he's like in Japan and he's got like that mask on that he's wearing. You can get like a figure like that. I don't got no Vader. Like I said, at some point I need to get me a Vader old school and a Bam Bam Bigelow old school. I got appreciation for the bigger dudes. And, hell, even like Earthquake and Typhoon, like I have lots of memories and like WrestleFest and like how good of a game WrestleFest was, even to this day, like the way the characters move and the way that they had, the game flow and the game play back then, it still holds up today. Like look at the Nintendo 64, WCW versus NWO, Revenge, No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000. That shit still holds up today. GoldenEye. I was digging through my fucking 64 and I couldn't find one of the wires. Like the one wire that goes to the back to the 64 to the red, yellow, and white. I can't find it. I found the hard one that goes into the back of the hard drive into the wall, but I can't. I was like, I had the games, 2 controllers, Rumble Pack, memory card. Where the fuck is this? So I wanted to play GoldenEye last night. Couldn't find it. And I got a big tub of fucking wires that I got to go through now. And hopefully I got a PS2 in my room, but I was like, God damn it, I want to play GoldenEye. I saw this like little walkthrough of this kid playing GoldenEye, and I watched it for like 2 minutes. And the best part about 64 and GoldenEye and certain games is the music and the sound effects. Like the sound effects are undefeated. And when you hear the different weaponry go off in that game on a loud TV, there is no comparison to any game, Call of Duty or any of these other ones, Gears of War. I like going back and having those memories, but there's a reason why GoldenEye will always be the top of the top. It's the sound effects in that fucking game. They are unmatched, undefeated. Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy. Yeah, the ringside stuff is always fucking unbelievable.
I am sick and tired of everyone saying that she's the future of NXT. I see right through that wholesome little ass.
I love that stuff from the 80s and the 90s.
Keep your stupid on that clock. There's anything that gives.
All right, I need to go get a drink.
Oh, Brock's not gonna know what hit him. Busy, do whatever you need to do. I always do.
Oh, let's go, baby. I didn't use the regular graphic. I made my own. Turned out pretty good. I was like, I got to go with these for the. This has got to be the thumb, baby. He said you fucked up some moves, Trick. Trick, you fucked up some moves. All right, let me go get my drink now for real. It's funny. I got a DDP figure right in front of me right now, like all the names. And a big thing with Sergeant Slaughter that I love so much because he was on the G.I. Joe cartoon and on WWF. I thought it was like the coolest thing ever. I was like, oh my God. And you can actually get Sergeant Slaughter as an action figure that was in G.I. Joe. Like, how many people are like, Refrigerator Perry even has a G.I. Joe, from that time period, which is uber cool. I don't own it, but I've seen it before. But it's always cool when you get crossover stuff like that, where you could be famous enough to be a wrestler, and then they ask you to be in the fucking top cartoon back then with Transformers and Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, which I actually watch about an hour every day or more to this day. Watch that trick. DDP figure is actually one of my favorites. Because the figures here, hold up. And the reason that these ones are so dope, obviously it's got some transparency, but with the DDP, the clothing is, they have like, it's like a hard plastic with a lot of the stuff on the Toy Biz line. And the reason that these ones are so cool, as you can see, obviously with the pose, with the diamond cutter, but you squeeze the legs, bang, see, falls out. It's awesome. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, dude. I mean, as far as a toy collector, squeeze the legs. I mean, they used to make like Ghostbuster figures in my childhood like that. So as soon as they started making stuff like that, anything that you squeeze the legs and the arms move, and I got a Sting NWO, same Toy Biz line. I got a Hollywood Hogan. I got the Kevin Nash, and I also got the Outsiders, Scott Hall. It's like sometimes you got to be able to have those certain figures, that remind you of either childhood or, if you got a little bit older, middle school, high school time. Oh, here we go. I was going to go get my drink, but let's go, Roxanne.
You may be different, but on February 4th, the results will be the same. Roxanne Perez has had a great run, but Lyra Valkyria has agreed. And now, it's my time. I don't hope I beat you. I don't pray I beat you. I need to beat you.
Well, there is the champion looking to check off another box on her journey as champion. As Perez looks to reclaim a title she believes should still be hers. A title.
Yeah, I mean, I had Sam Howell in fantasy, so he had a couple like decent weeks, and then he had some fucking horrible weeks. Washington has never lacked talent at, running back, wide receiver, tight end. It's kind of like the Packers. They always have talent at running back, wide receiver, tight end, but can they ever stay healthy? And the quarterback usually isn't good enough. But it's very interesting hire. I mean, I think Eric Bieniemy is one of the best, and calling plays. So, with Kingsbury, I like Kingsbury as a coordinator more than a head coach. But I'm not sure if Kingsbury, quote unquote, is better than Bieniemy. I would say that Bieniemy is a better play caller. Cliff Kingsbury could develop the quarterback, and maybe that's the reasoning why that they have him, because they want him as a play caller, quarterback developer, rather than just a play caller in Bieniemy. That's what I'm thinking. And Kingsbury has had a pretty good reputation of developing quarterbacks, worked with Mahomes and many other quarterbacks, with Kyler and whatnot. So I would assume Washington will draft a quarterback, maybe, I don't really know which one they're looking at, but they're going to use him as a quote unquote play caller. And the thing that they're not going to, label it quarterback developer. Sometimes you got to read in between the lines. So, a lot of times you can look at the black and the white, but you got to look in the gray. So that is a good question, and that's my answer. So obviously Bieniemy on paper, hella better, much better. But Kingsbury might be a better quarterback developer and can work hand in hand and process information together with this new quarterback and call plays. So that way they feel they're getting a 2-for-1 rather than just a, one guy that's just calling plays and that's all he's doing. So, I mean, obviously, if you had a choice between Nagy and Bieniemy, I would go back to Bieniemy, but they will probably give Nagy one more year and try to draft or bring over T. Higgins or Mike Evans and draft Rome Odunze or Troy Franklin. And then if Nagy blows it, then they can get rid of him. But they'll give him one more year more than likely, especially if they win the Super Bowl, right? Why are you going to move off Nagy if Nagy ends up winning you the Super Bowl? You know what I mean? Was it Nagy play calling that won them the Super Bowl? Hell no, right? But if they end up winning the Super Bowl over the Niners, you're not going to replace them. You're going to keep them. You know, if anything, if Bieniemy wanted to be a part of the staff and come back, he could, but that would be kind of a demotion. I mean, Bieniemy is good enough to be a head coach or a OC, but I would just keep him as an OC. But if the Chiefs win, they're proving they're able to win it with the core of Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey, you know, with no Tyreek, no Bieniemy, and if they are able to find a way, it's like, you know, a very, very special group that tends to, you know, reinvent itself every year. And then now the Chiefs have a top 5 defense, which they didn't have before. And they have to be thankful that they have this elite defense, because if their defense was top 15, the Niners would probably win it, the Super Bowl. But since the defense and the offensive line is not going to be talked about, and Mahomes is more trustworthy than Brock Purdy, it's like, who's going to win it for you? Christian McCaffrey with like 3 touchdowns, or is Mahomes going to win it for you? And you would assume Mahomes, you know, will probably end up having, you know, a good day over Purdy. Can Purdy still have a good day? We assume he could, but if you had to put money on it, it would be smarter to put your money on Mahomes and Purdy. But it all depends on what you're going to get out of McCaffrey. You know, are you going to get 100 yards and 1 touchdown, or is he going to get 140 and score 3? And if he does that, then maybe the Niners win. But it'll be interesting to see how everything kind of plays out. Oh, Chiefs hate is always, and now more than ever, if you guys beat the Niners, you know, and then with the whole Swiftie thing, you know, it's like, even if there was no Taylor Swift, right, there would still be a lot of hate if you guys won this year, because then you would have officially transformed into the new New England Patriots minus the cheating, as the team that is the most dominant, you know, in the NFL year in and year out. And you're always going to be in the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. As long as they had Brady, Belichick, and Gronk, they were there. As long as they got Reed, Kelsey, and Mahomes, you're going to be there. And then you're just going to be the most hated team moving forward for like the next 10 years. But if you're winning championships, if you're a Chief fan, who gives a shit? We got Mahomes. You don't, you know, fucking thank God we do. You know, that's the mindset. You don't got to necessarily rub it in, but you just feel really, really good knowing that your team's got the best chance to win the Super Bowl every year for the next 10 to 15 years. That's a good feeling. You know, but for everyone else in the league and all the other fan bases, they're going to, you know, bitch, moan, cry about it, whine about it, moan about it, you know. But at least there's no like cheating allegations, you know, but to some people on the internet, the Swift stuff is just as big as cheating allegations because it's all you hear about. But I don't know. Chiefs don't bother me. I think it's going to be cool. You're either going to see the Chiefs and Mahomes and his dynasty and his level of greatness go to another level, or you're going to see the Niners and Kyle Shanahan finally climb the mountain. So it's a win-win this year for the Super Bowl. All right, I got to get my drink. I don't want to miss Roxanne Perez. $1.99 to go. All right, give me 1 sec.
Said that she just wants the respect of more of the peers and locker. She doesn't want the question marks, the clouds hanging over the title reign, which is why she has this one-on-one match, why she's been looking forward to this one-on-one opportunity against Brest. It's the battles with those like the man that have prepared Valkyria for this matchup here tonight. And again, these two have known each other so very long. They've watched each other kind of grow up here in NXT, both being champions. This has been an even matchup.
Yeah, and it's a very cagey start. Both women know one mistake and it can be over for them. That is the level of respect these two clearly have for each other as competitors.
NXT Universe here rallying behind both these superstars as Perez used a little bit extra from the top, charging right in. Now maybe trying to quicken the pace in this matchup. Goes around not once but twice to take down Valkyria. And it's important to note too, for Perez, chasing history. Only 2 other women have held the NXT Women's title more than once: Shayna Baszler and Charlotte Flair.
Now, what? But that was Bullhammer. Perfect timing, perhaps. Lying in wait was Lyra Valkyria, and now the champion has risen.
One more time on the button.
Just when Roxanne Perez thought she had a head of steam in this one, here's the game changer for Roxanne has not looked the same since.
The artillery coming out from the champion is back here to the top, looking to soar. Has her target in sight. Missing though just in the last moment. And incoming with a fast press. Is the challenger. And now it's Perez who's on top. And it's Roxanne Perez who said she's not going to be pushed around anymore here in NXT. She wants her championship back.
That is the ace up her sleeve, Roxanne. She is so elusive in that ring. She is so nimble, diminutive, and using it to her advantage.
Period. Had to know this was going to come to a point in this match because she was warned by Perez. Perez is not the same lucky-go person she once was. Roxanne Perez now knows she might have to take a high risk. 24 moonsault. Get all of it into the cover title on the line, and another near fall. Valkyria just able to get that left shoulder up. And for Perez, almost like she's trying to regain her focus in this matchup after another near fall. But take a look at the rotation and Perez back to live action. Big right hand followed by a forearm buckling the knees of the champion.
Champ is completely wobbled at this point, throwing whatever she can at Perez to get a little breather room, but that did it.
And Valkyria looking up Perez. Nice suplex. Cover. Counter retain and kick out by the challenger.
All right, I'm back.
On that.
I had to give Paisley some food.
Valkyria knew full well Roxanne was going to kick out there, but again, buying herself a little time to recover from
Bang!
Oh, looking for one more time. This time it's countered inside. Kind of another near fall. Almost a new champion here at Vengeance Day.
Valkyria knows she cannot write off Roxanne that easily. It's going to take something special to put away the former champion. Oh, right on the back of the neck of Roxanne. That was an ugly landing.
What a German suplex from Valkyria. If you noticed, she had the foot hooked of Roxanne Perez in an unusual position, and it's Valkyria now.
Yeah, but I'm going to let you know that I got no problem with the Chiefs. You know what I mean? I try not to let other stuff irritate me like maybe it irritated me early on. It doesn't really irritate me as much. If they're going to show people on the screen, they're going to show people on the screen. That doesn't affect as long as it's the overall game itself is not being affected. Some things get a little bit blown out of proportion and whatnot. Oh, Hurricane Rana, baby. Nice move by Roxanne Perez right there. Ow, baby. Little destroyer, baby. Yeah. Well, it's all about, business, right? So, but it's going to be like, even if they break up, right? The Chiefs are going to be the top dog, like year in, year out, like the Patriots. That doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl every year, but every year, if you had to say, oh, what's one team that's going to be in the AFC or NFC championship game? Like, it's just going to be like how New England was, where that would be the first team that you would say, you know what, chances are they might not win it, but they're going to be one of the final four teams every single fucking year, unless Patrick Mahomes gets injured, and he doesn't really get hurt that often. So, and you saw, with Brady, how he was able to stay pretty clean besides that one ACL year. We got Matt Castle? Was that the replacement that year, Castle, for Brady? Mike Evans on the Chiefs. Oh my God, bro. You have no idea how talented that guy is. I've watched his whole career. I watched him at A&M with Johnny. So I've already watched everything. I've seen high school stuff. I've seen college. He's able to do it with like the least amount of talent at quarterback. And I think that once people start like comparing the legends, with the Jerry Rices and the Randy Mosses and the T.O.s and the Larry Fitzgeralds and the Megatrons, and, you're looking at all the big famous names, but then you look to see like who Mike Evans actually had at quarterback, and his stats are just as good, if not better than those guys. Like not Jerry Rice, but the other guys, like it's pretty impressive. I mean, it's not like, T.O. or Randy Moss or Jerry Rice were getting passes from fucking Jameis Winston. or Megatron was getting them from Jameis Winston. So, I mean, it's pretty fucking impressive. Keenan Allen is going to get a whole lot of love. I saw that he did really well in the flag football two-hand touch thing. I didn't see all the highlights in the quote-unquote Pro Bowl, NFL Street, whatever thing that they got going on now. But it will be exciting to, start to see, like, Justin Jefferson down the road. Mike Evans, is probably the guy that will get the most love after he's retired. Like, after he's retired, people are going to start wearing his jersey, and like they're going to look at him a little bit differently. It's like him and Keenan Allen have always been like, oh, what would you guys rank these guys? And they always are like normally close to top 5, but most of the time, even when they would always be labeled 6th, 7th, 8th best, which is nothing to shake a stick at. You're not 10th. But a lot of people want to give the swag to the Jamar Chases and the Justin Jeffersons and the Tyreeks and the Devontae Adams. I get that, right? Mike Evans, sometimes it's not a sexy thing, because he's on the Buccaneers. It's a, small market team that a lot of people, don't really give a shit about. I get it, but you can't take those stats away from a guy like that. Oh, baby, double DDT. But if Mike Evans gets passes from Mahomes, I mean, that'll be like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in the prime. It'll be crazy. And then that'll open up for Kelsey too. Like, he'll be able to get stuff that he'll never have access to. And the double teams won't be there. More one-on-one coverage. Kelsey against linebackers, that's a mismatch. Kelsey against safeties, that's a mismatch. One-on-one, Mahomes going to Evans deep for a 50-yard tutty. That would be fucking crazy, dude. I'd definitely be rooting for you guys. I'm a big Evans guy, so. And Godwin has gotten kind of the short stick of it all because when Brady was there, he made an effort to go to Godwin and Evans. But with Baker, he doesn't give effort to go to Godwin. So Godwin's getting a little like overlooked, and his stat line is very low. 2. Evans is worth every single dollar. It don't matter what it is, 10, 20, 30, 40. It don't matter. I mean, if you want a guy that's going to produce, that doesn't get hurt, that's got great hands, that can actually get you 3 touchdowns in a game. I mean, how many guys are in the league that could do that? Like, that are old. Keenan Allen, Mike Evans. That's it. Those are the only guys that are old that can still play like a young guy, like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, like a guy that's older that can put up young guy numbers. There's not very many of them left. And Evans doesn't get as hurt as often as Keenan Allen. And I love both. Hell, I had both in fantasy this year. So obviously I know. And I normally don't have Mike Evans on my team. It's like a couple years ago I had Godwin because I knew Brady would get him the ball. But it was cool having Evans in fantasy this year. Yeah, T. Higgins would be nice. Because Higgins is like a 2, right, with Jamar Chase, but he actually is like a 1. Like, you could actually put T. Higgins as a 1, not on every team, but probably on a third of the teams, because the other 2/3 already have someone that's better. But T. Higgins could be, a number 1 for about, I would say 10 to 12 teams, and that's saying something. That's good. But he has more of a natural 2, but if you have to make him a 1, he can do it. Yeah, but as long as you got Andy Reid, Spags, Kelsey, Mahomes, you got that core, and then you can beef up the O-line. And every year, it's like the O-line isn't like the Cowboys O-line. It never gets any love or notoriety. But again, if the Chiefs O-line win the line of scrimmage, right, which doesn't seem possible against the Niners D-line with Bosa and Chase Young and company, but if the Chiefs line wins the line of scrimmage, which they probably will, right, they're going to end up winning the Super Bowl. Like, it's like that one piece that people are not, talking about because, they just like to focus on the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. And, it's like Brock Purdy could have a great game, but who's more likely to fuck up, Mahomes or Purdy? So you have to keep that in mind as well. And it's not like the Chiefs have a top 15 defense or top 5, top 3, sometimes top 2. So the defense is equal, Niners and Chiefs. It's just like, who do you trust more on offense? You trust, it's like, even though Mahomes and the Chiefs might have been putting up less points, they don't turn over the ball as often as of late as maybe the Niners. And so it's all about ball control and, making sure you don't lose the football. It's all about, who's going to have the football and who's not. So Bianca and Montez Ford. Gabe Davis is okay, but he ain't Chris Godwin. He ain't T. Higgins. He's not that good. Like, it's like if you have a good quarterback, well, Josh Allen's throwing him the ball. But if Gabe Davis went to like the Browns, do you think we would really hear his name that often? I mean, it just depends on how many targets, I guess, a Gabe Davis would get on Cleveland. But the way that Cleveland's built, run the ball with Chubb. Njoku is a fucking star now at tight end. So now you know that you can give Njoku the ball and he'll give you yak yards, and Njoku plays like a wide receiver. So it's like you reckon, and they already have Amari Cooper. So it's like, it's like you're a name, but it's like you had that one game in the playoffs where you scored the 4 tutties, but overall, like, Gabe is not that good. Like, it's like he's kind of up and down, kind of streaky. But also his relationship with Diggs, like, it was like kind of going up and down, and Diggs' stats at the end of the year weren't the greatest either. Oh, yeah. Lots of teams have got a lot of key pieces. Like, when I look at mine, I'm like, it hurts me because it's like a lot of the guys that are going to be available or might leave are like cornerstone pieces. Like, I don't want to see Devin White leave, even though some people are hating on him. I don't want to see Mike Evans leave. I don't want to see Godwin. I don't want to see any of my guys, like, yeah, you can bring in new guys, but it's like once you have like really inherited certain players, like you want them to be like, I want Mike Evans to be a buck for life. That's important to me, but I don't know if it'll happen. But if he does go, I would like him to go to a team like the Chiefs. Like, if he were to leave, that's a place that I would like accept. I would be like, okay, you left the Bucs. You're never going to win with us ever again. But if you join Mahomes, maybe you can get that franchise on a upward trajectory, and maybe you can like have them, take off and, win not just one, but maybe 2. And, if there was a team that, like, if they win this year, and then who's to say they can't win the following year? Yeah, they're going to lose pieces, but, them three-peating could be possible if they win this year. So, yeah, but the hate is not going to, I'm going to call it how I see it, but I got no hate, but I can already see the trajectory, and there is nobody that's going to be on the Chief level. You got Jalen Hurts, but the Eagles are always going to implode with their coaching. You got the Niners, but until the Niners end up having a top 5 quarterback, that's, Joe Montana, Steve Young, like, that might be the only way they win. Like, you might be able to keep getting to the Super Bowl with like Colin Kaepernick and Jimmy G and Brock Purdy, but you might need to get a Joe Montana or a Steve Young, whoever that is, getting a Joe Burrow on the Niners. And if you can't get a Joe Burrow on the Niners, you may never get that Super Bowl. So it kind of, Niners, they're weak there. They have guys that are like good enough at running back. Now they got CMC, and now it's solidified. But they were always, they could put literally anybody at running back or quarterback, the Niners, and they would be successful. Like, they're the only team in the NFL, and how are they able to do that? Great D-line, great defense, great coaching, great GM, great offensive line, great pieces around them at wide receiver and tight end to block for them. So it's like whoever the quarterback or running backs were, they were a bunch of, Jeff Wilsons and Mosterts. But then as you see them, you're like, oh, these guys are actually kind of talented. But, the O-line definitely made some of those guys. But, I'm very interested to see the trajectory of the Niners and the Chiefs, because I definitely think that both of those organizations are going to win championships in the next 10 years. And you may see the teams win more than one. But it all depends. Can you win it with Brock Purdy? Or do you need to get someone like a Joe Burrow? And then if the Chiefs win, then they're pretty much saying, hey, no Tyreek, no Bieniemy. We had the most drop passes, since the beginning of time. And they were still able to find a way to win. But then the biggest thing was Pacheco and then the defense improving to not only top 5 status of being top 15 in the past, but getting it all the way up to being top 2, top 3. I mean, I don't know if any Chief fan saw that coming.
Maybe you be mine.
And then if Mike Evans ended up leaving the Bucks, even though I don't want him, I mean, like I said, if Mike Evans ends up, signing like the rest of his, career contract, I will invest at some point, definitely a jersey of him. Like, I don't like offensive jerseys, but I would have to go Allstott and then Mike Evans down the road. I hope he stays. But again, if he goes, he has to go to a team like the Chiefs, so that way it's not wasted. Where, you either play with one team and you have the career that you did and won a Super Bowl in Tampa, right? Or you join a team like the Chiefs and then they end up being like the most dominant team in the NFL. And there's like, they'll have to do some retooling on the defense. They keep beefing up that O-line that never gets talked about. But then if you get like a Tyreek type of talent at wide receiver with Kelsey, that means a lot of less intermediate throws to guys like Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, and those guys that will no longer be on the team or no longer will get opportunities. And that equals more dubs for the Chiefs Kingdom. Dragon Lee, baby. Let's go. $1.99 to go. I like me some Dragon Lee. I found my Mike Allstott figure. Bo Jackson. Warren Sapp. Some of the figures I haven't seen in a while, too. It's cool to like open up a box and see stuff that I had the discipline to understand that's worth money. And even though I never buy stuff to like flip, it's just like my personal collection because it makes me happy and whatnot. It's just cool to be able to see things that I had that know-how. And it's like, okay, being, 4, 5, 6 years old, 12, 20, and just having that insight of like, oh, maybe I should buy that. I got the money. Maybe I should buy that now, Cool pieces, man. I like the gear, Dragon Lee. Hey, it's a Matt Payton world, Finley, and we're just living in it. I'm just waiting for him to fucking, get some discipline. It's like if you want to be able to hop on with your boy, for like college football, I have given you the blueprint. There's not going to be anyone else that's got 20,000 subs or more that's just going to be like, well, you live in Hawaii, JOB, get some MONEY, then get a computer, get an iMac, get a speaker, 2 of them, microphone, faster internet, that Hawaiian broadband, not the shitty shit, right? And then boom shakalaka, you could be like the color guy when we do Oregon Duck games. And then even maybe beyond that, actual college football games. Go Ducks. And to think that the Ducks can't win the Big Ten is not us being biased as Duck fans. Ask anybody else if they, based on like who we have at quarterback and all the, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, look at all the pieces that we got coming in, the pieces that are there, the pieces that we replaced. Like our team looks like we could easily, be the number 1 team. Like we still have to execute and make it happen and hope that we don't have any serious injuries. But if you're looking at Ohio State and you're looking at Oregon, yeah, those are the logical 2 pieces. But I do think that without bias, Oregon, might be the front runner, based on the talent level that they're bringing in. We're having a better incoming than they are. We're going to have a better quarterback than them, so hell, our quarterback room is going to be better than theirs. So I don't know. And I feel Dan Lanning's swag now is like on another level. Like Dan Lanning's turning into a little like Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, like he's surpassed Ryan Day. Like Lanning is like Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning is like, that's what we got. And then Ryan Day might be like third, on that list, but he doesn't have that same swagger factor. It's like the Dabo Sweeney swagger factor went down a little bit after their team started getting shitty. I think Sarkisian swag goes up. Lanning's goes up. Ryan Day's still up there. Kirby Smart's at the top now since Saban and Harbaugh are gone. But I feel like Lanning is like, as far as like when you look at all the coaches, like, and you look and like, who would I want to play for the most? I think a lot of people are going to go Kirby Smart, and then I think Dan Lanning. I think a lot of them are going to be like Oregon number 2 behind Georgia, like overall, and that would mean that we would be the number 1 team in the Big Ten. Oh, Dragon Lee, baby. But I mean, Dan Lanning comes across as like even swaggier and more real, and like you can vibe with him more than Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart is just kind of like I don't know how to describe him, like a shorter, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe him. A shorter, like midget coach, like he just like, kind of has a certain type of hair and sort of look about him. It's like, I don't know. He just seems like a coach, but there is no like relatability with him. He's just Georgia's coach, and he's going to get the wins and he's going to get the recruiting, but you just don't feel like, the genuine, like who he is. But I think with Dan Lanning, I feel like, we're trying to actually build something. And obviously that's because they've already won it. So they already know what it's like to climb the mountain. And that's kind of how it is. You have to be able to be hungry, and then people can see it. And then once you climb the mountain and achieve it, you still have to be hungry. You can't be complacent. And I feel with the Kirby Smart, it's like maybe they got used to it now. But I'll tell you what, Oregon wants to take it. And I know Ohio State's going to want to take it too. But hell, I mean, Texas might have a better chance of taking it than Ohio State. It's like I feel the way that, I mean, Texas still needs a better O-line and better defense. And we know Ohio State always has defense, but their offense has been a little suspect. But, I mean, Texas improves that O-line and that defense, they got a chance to do something. Their quarterback room is going to be better. Yeah, Oba has got an interesting look. And I like being able to see different types of styles wrestle. You can be a power guy, but then still can sell moves. You can still be lucha libre, but then also do some groundwork or do some, moves maybe out of character. So it's always cool to be able to see like different styles, vibe, and see how they progress as their careers go.
Levels before that. Open Benny, as far as I'm aware, does not have that. He's a British crossover athlete, and when you get guys like that, it takes years to refine them, to get them
into a cover hook of the leg, and the challenger just kicking it.
To get them a level of poise, experience, confidence.
You know what Obafemi is, Finley? Obafemi is what Omos, like what we wanted Omos to be. Like, do moves, like have a personality, like let's, like what, I get it, you're tall. But like other than being tall, it's like I've had taller guys that I watched, Giant Gonzalez, Andre the Giant. Like we've seen like tall guys, a great Khalid, but besides just being tall, like I want to be able to hear you cut a promo. And then if you still can't cut a promo, then at least like give me something like unique move wise, like give me something. Yeah, if I was the Chiefs, I'd go for Mike Evans and T. Higgins and also draft wide receivers. It's like pretty much look at all the top wide receivers and fucking draft one. Go get fucking Lad McConkey. Go get Lad. Like it could be a Caucasian receiver. It can be a brother receiver. I mean, it could be a European receiver. I mean, whatever you're looking for. I mean, there's a lot of talent. I guess it just depends on what you like, route running wise, hands wise, and what you think is going to work best with Pat. But it would be really cool to see like a really athletic slot receiver that was reliable, and then a guy, downfield guy, also, so that way you had like one of each. Like, that's what Mahomes needs. He needs that deep threat, like a guy like Tyreek, where you throw it up, and even if he's undersized, he's athletic enough to jump at the right time and get him and go with those 50-50 balls and still win because he's smart and athletic. And then also to get the intermediate route guy, the guy that can be like a Rashee Rice, but maybe even better. And then you could just move Rice to the outside and have someone else be a little bit more reliable in the inside.
There's your answer, Nick. There's your fighting chance.
Yo, I have so many toys in this room. It's like literally Toys R Us. I have bins that I brought in. So that way, if I just get bored and I want to like go through like a Toys R Us aisle, and then I go in there, and then I dug some more and I found some Walking Dead that I totally forgot that I bought. I have a Rick and I have a badass Michonne with the sword. Like, and they're like, good size Walking Dead figures before obviously all the Toys R Us shutdown stuff. And then I got a Negan Glenn duo one. Anyone that knows Walking Dead knows about Negan and Glenn. But my favorite is the Daryl Dixon, and then with the motorcycle box set that I have. I mean, fucking Daryl, come on now. Daryl with the crossbow, and it comes with the motorcycle. Like, it's so dope that they almost got me to open it. Like, I have never opened it, and I've like wanted to like fuck around with it. I'm like, it's so detailed, and it's made from McFarlane too. That does like the basketball, baseball, football, hockey. So you know that they put in a lot of extra detail in there, movable parts. It's badass. Yes, you need Chris Jones. Yeah, and if the Colts were smart, they would have Pittman get re-signed. But if Pittman ends up wanting more money and goes elsewhere, but then you get T. Higgins to come in, you're not going to cry about it. You're going to be like, okay, well, if you couldn't keep one, as long as we bring in someone on the same level as a Pittman, like if you get something like that, or if for one weird reason, if Mike Evans goes to the Colts and it's AR and Mike Evans, and then you're not going to be mad that Pittman's gone. So it'll be very interesting to see where some of these guys end up falling if they don't go back to the Bengals and the Bucks. I don't know. I can't picture Higgins really on another team, and I definitely can't picture Mike Evans. I don't want to either. But I can visualize him on the Chiefs other than the Bucks, but that's the only other team, though. But even that vision is a little blurry. Dragon Lee with a big kick. 2. Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. would be great, but they have a shitty O-line, and I don't want him to get crushed, like Joey Harrington on the Lions when he came in. I need Michael Penix Jr. to have a line so he doesn't look like he did in the championship game. I need him to look like he did for a majority of the season. And he'll still make splash plays with no O-line, but I don't want to see him get sacked or rolled up on or hurt or throw some dumbass picks. And like, I want to see him do well, as a lefty, like represent all lefties in the sport. So I hope whatever team he goes to that they have an awesome O-line, or they at least build an O-line for him to be successful. But Penix Jr. to Jay Jetta for a 50-yard bomb sounds amazing. I mean, I could just see like the duo cards, Michael Penix Jr. on the left, Jay Jetta on the right, and they both autograph it on the bottom. And then just like the highlight reel. It'd be like Tua to Tyreek, but I think even more exciting. Oh, look at Dragon Lee. Oh, sit down powerbomb. 2. That's sit down powerbomb, boy. NXT North American Champion Obafemi versus Dragon Lee. Oh, what a save. Oh. You're like, I don't want to powerbomb him right there. Big knee. Nice. Obafemi looks like that actor that I've watched in a few shows. He's like not too tall, not too short, not too like, roided out looking, Wow, look at that counter.
But you talk about the inexperience. This could be the experience. Like a monster back to his feet.
Oh my gosh. Sarah and Matt, thank you for the help on the Twitter-X.
Looking to put the finishing touches possibly on his first championship title.
Two. I got to check up on Paisley. You guys keep watching.
He's well on his way to doing so with performances like tonight.
He believes there is a prophecy driving him. It's written in the stars.
He just tossed Lee like nothing, like a shot put, like he was back in college, dominating the NXT. Power bomb. Good night. Oh, potatoes. I want to take nothing away from Dragon Lee, who, when all was said and done, was able to fight back throughout this matchup. But this was just unreal. The strength of him is just unreal with what he can do with other humans. Just launching them with no remorse, with no care. This brutal, vicious power bomb.
Few questions were asked of Obafemi tonight. NXT North American champion answered every single one of them and passed this test with flying colours.
His size, ruthlessness, and immense strength is the equation I don't know who can solve. So who can step up and take down the North American champion?
Oh, I missed it. Who ended up winning the match? I missed it. Who won the match? Who won the match? And then where are we gonna Oba dead? Nice. What's next? Oba. How did he win?
Miss April. Yeah, hell. Spring flame with the king. Right next to this, you need to stop. Thea, what are you gonna learn that Riley Osborne is not the guy?
Vengeance Tech has been amazing so far, and it's your first PLE as GM of NXT. So, how are you feeling about it all?
Kelly, there was a lot of pressure going into tonight, but I think it's been a hit. I mean, every single match has been incredible, and we still have our main event. So, safe to say, it's been a great
Ava's like, man, I'm just handling my business like The Rock.
I completely agree about Clarksville. I really feel like NXT is starting to build momentum and hit its stride as we're gearing up for Stand and Deliver. So, what is next?
Well, on March 5th is NXT Roadblock, and then after that, Soft to Set and Deliver. Speaking of that, ticket sales for this year have easily surpassed those from last year. I think that's so exciting because that means that this year's Set and Deliver has
WWE is on some good momentum. For me, I'm not going to be one of those stands or guys that's like only watching one brand and shits on the other brand online or to friends or other people. The internet wrestling community, a majority, I don't want to say all of them are toxic. It just depends on who you follow or whatnot. But there's definitely very opinionated people on the internet wrestling community. But there's going to be people out there also that kind of know what's going on. But WWE has definitely gained momentum, with having guys come back, even though, CM Punk got hurt, being able to keep a majority of their stars healthy for the most part, even though like Seth Rollins got hurt. But it's like, I feel with AEW, they're really declining right now just because of star power. You need to have the bigger names wrestle more often, unless there's others that can fill that role.
So this took some time reflecting, as you would say, Brendan. And I got my 5 likes. First,
The Indies. Oh, did you watch the bare knuckle boxing? Did you watch it?
In third, just like always, we came out with a crazy energy. People was chanting Malik the Freak. I'm like, Freak. In fourth, that front splash I hit was splash. If I do say so. In 5, that you just elbow was so clean that I almost saw my own reflection through it.
Blazers 78, Nuggets 75. 5:47 left in the third quarter.
Our communication got lost at the end. We lost.
What else you got? That was 2, so she said 5. Come
Well,
on.
you just-
Likes, dislikes.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, you gotta know that stuff isn't actually gonna help you, right? Right? We think Braun and Corbin, 2 certified monsters.
Well, I just created it, so
We get on the same page.
it's a recent thing.
It's in home, Drew. Please stop.
Job, money, computer, microphone, practice, college football, ducks. Do it.
So I say we put the 2 theories to the test, Nathan. 2 teams, 1 answer. Goosebumps. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So fun.
So far, so good. NXT pay-per-views never disappoint.
This is going to be fast-paced, high-flying. Axiom Frazier and Alfie Blade, Tuesday live on NXT. Also, this coming Tuesday, Lexus King set to its
Lexus King, Riley Osborne.
One-on-one on NXT Tuesday on USA. And the Wolf Dogs will be howling on Tuesday. If you want one of his
Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin. Oh, there's a cat fight backstage. How many more matches do we have? Do we have one match left? That's it? Oh, I don't think it's going to matter if you guys wear red or if you guys wear white. This is a big moment, for Patrick Mahomes or Kyle Shanahan, whose legacy is going to take a notch. Kyle Shanahan finally getting the monkey off his back, or realizing maybe you need to have a better quarterback than the quarterbacks that you've had besides the Matt Ryan, right? That was the one, right? Or Patrick Mahomes' legacy goes up another notch, and he is the closest thing to Tom Brady that we are going to see in, this quote unquote, timeline. So. Yeah, but again, jealousy and envy. I mean, it's going to be one of those things. When you start having success, people are going to hate you. And I mean, as long as they're winning, and they're doing it the right way, and there's no controversy or whatever, then, I mean, they already get a big notch in my book, with obviously trying to, not only, win with Tyreek and then win without Tyreek and then trying to win without Bieniemy and, trying to kind of reinvent, themselves. And they, not a lot of teams, have to do that or, are able to do that. So very, very impressed. And, if there's any doubt that Mahomes is the best, even when he struggles, I mean, you just have to turn on the tape and watch. Like, of course, I love watching Joe Burrow, and when Josh Allen is hot, he's right there. When Jalen is good, he's great. But again, it's like I think it just proves to a point. If you have to have one, it's like it's hard to go against Mahomes. The only other person that I could put in the a similar category but lower than Mahomes would be Burrow. That's my favorite. That's not Mahomes, because I feel that he's got the swagger. He's smart. He's trustworthy. He doesn't turn the football over. He's special, and he's got the it factor. I feel that he is more, trustworthy than like a Herbert or a Josh Allen or a Lamar. But again, it's going to be up to the coaching staff and the supporting cast. Burrow is not going to be able to get there by himself. O-line, defense, coaching, those things have to be on point for him to get to the AFC Championship game, to get an opportunity to beat Mahomes. But that's like the only, hurdle Mahomes has had in his career. It's either Burrow or Brady, and Brady is no longer playing. So
It was you.
Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, WrestleMania X unboxing and review. My buddy just sent me that. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is cool. Has him in the poses and stuff. Oh, that's cool. Razor Ramon, that looks awesome with the ladder. Oh my gosh, the Shawn Michaels looks cool too. Wow. They got a couple glasses and the jewelry, the earrings, couple belts. Wow, it comes with 2 Shawn Michaels and 2 Razor Ramones in the box. That is fucking dope. Just came out 2 days ago with this video. Michael, what's good?
We usually have a lot of fun in this moment, but I want to get serious for a second. We had a talking trick earlier. April 7th, 2019, the day Kofi Kingston won the WWE title.
Wow, those are super fire. My buddy just sent me that. I haven't seen a box set that's got 4 figures in it. Incredibly dope. I don't know how much that costs, probably like $100 or more, but it was incredible. They can chant to whoop that trick, but you got to be cleaner in the ring, man. They like, it's like you're going to get the crowd reaction, but for them to keep doing it, you got to be able to, you can't be sloppy. I mean, I got to have guys pan out. I can't have guys like Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream could have been huge. Modern day Gold Dust, but a brother. It could have been incredible and actually was good on the mic, good in the ring. And, sometimes, you sabotage yourself or you make bad choices. But I'll tell you what, Velveteen Dream was must-see TV for me. And that's one wrestler that I wish that we got to see on a higher level. Dragunov. This is the last match. And Dragunov is like, you know, kind of like the Gunther Walter, where they have like certain guys that, you know, are like foreign and they can, you know, it's not even like back in the 80s and the 90s where it was like USA versus whoever and anything that was like, you know, from a different country. And then that was like the vibe that they would do like in the Hulk Hogan era. But it's not really like that anymore. But it's very, very cool to be able to see like wrestlers of different of color and different race being able to, you know, have a belt. It's, you know, you're getting it spread out. And I like that. Good Asian representation with like the female Japanese wrestlers getting some love as of late. Pretty cool. Walter and Gunther. Dragunov is a fucking machine. Let's fucking go. O-Dog with a thumb. I think I did pretty good on this. I was like, give me the fireworks in the background. I was going to do just regular Tennessee, Clarksville scenery, but I was like, well, I can't find any scenery with buildings that looks cool enough. But it's like fireworks, say, oh, I can do that. You got to use my creativity.
On the way here, Wade. Do you believe our champion, when he warned Trick?
What nationalities is Gunther Walter? What are his nationalities? Yeah. Hogan, Nikolai Volkov, yes. Like I said, I was just watching 87 Survivor Series and 88 SummerSlam with the superpowers with Hogan and Macho Man going against Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase, and then doing the Survivor Series in 87, Team Andre versus Team Hogan. Hogan had Bam Bam Bigelow, like I mentioned earlier, and then Andre had Ravishing Rick Rude and then a few other guys. It was cool. Anything but Austrian or only Austrian?
How did you feel heading into your first one-on-one main event?
So in this match, is Mello gonna run in and cost Trick the match? Is that what we're gonna get? Is that the foreshadowing? That Mello comes down to try to help, but ends up making Trick lose because he wants Trick to lose, and he's right there. But like actually like does something. Like he's there, but is that what we're getting? Oh, what a clothesline. No, I did not see him. Anytime I see stuff on social media and they post stuff like on figures, I always take a peek. I'm like, let me see what awesome elite style figures for WWE or elite style AEW figures or Japanese or vintage. Like, you know, looking at like LJNs that were before my time that are super expensive. The figures that are bigger, you know, they have like the, you know, much bigger, like rubbery, you know, figures. And then they became like harder plastic with like Hasbro and like the Bone Crunchers and Stone Cold Steve Austin era Bone Crunchers. Everyone's bleeding out there already. Austrian, German, Italian, all the nations.
You see these two being battered and bruised already. So again, you go back to what you just said is Dragunov now setting his sights
Oh yeah, House of Black. I think I saw it. Did I send that picture to you? I think maybe I saw it or something, but yeah, I saw that set and that one looked pretty cool. I'm bleeding. You're bleeding. We do it for our country. Is this the last match? So are we going 2 hours and 30 minutes? You sent it to me? Yeah, you sent it to me. I was gonna say, where did I see that? Someone sent that to me. Or yeah. Three Faces of Foley. Oh yeah, I love the Dude Love, Cactus Jack, Mankind. I got an old box set from like the 80s or 90s. It's got like a Bret Hart, a referee, like Ahmed Johnson, and then maybe like another wrestler in there. But the guy on the YouTube thing is Kyle Peterson. That was the video of the unboxing of the Razor Ramon Shawn Michaels. You should check it out. It's cool, man. Whoop that trick. Bloody mouth, bloody mouth. Predator, predator. I got a bloody mouth. You got a bloody nose and mouth. Trick Williams is kind of like a poor man's Damien. Poor man's Damien Priest. Kind of like that body size and that shape. Like he just needs to refine the skills a little bit. I mean, I get it, like, being a tag team wrestler and going to a solo competition, but just like working on the little things, like selling, on the microphone, in the ring, selling moves. Because you don't want to like have someone do a move and then you don't like sell it and it just looks dumb out there. Then it makes you both look dumb out there, and you don't want to look dumb on TV or especially in a pay-per-view. Yeah. Yeah. There are some cool ones. Super kicked him, and then the glass. I mean, and then just like, the shows that they had, like, I don't know if they would be considered corny to this day. I mean, when people see the old stuff, but like if you were just living back then and like, some stuff might have been corny, but just like that's what, it was about at that time. And I feel like so many of the things that they had, the interviews, the backstage stuff, the promos. I mean, the promos are undefeated. I mean, anything fucking Macho Man on a microphone is just like fucking ridiculous. Like the only thing that matches up is like Rock Stone Cold stuff, like in their prime. See right here, what are we getting here? Are we gonna get I'm waiting for Carmelo to turn. Joe Witt Jr. It's going to take Commanders the right coach and the right time, to be able to turn an organization like that around. I mean, if it was me, the first thing I would do is I'd go back to the Washington Redskins, just make sure that everyone is cool and we're on the same page. And, we're not, we're just trying to go back to history. We're not offending anyone. It's a cool fucking logo. People of the native tribes fucking love that shit. Like it's representing one of the famous chiefs. The Cowboys, Redskins would actually have meaning again. And then you actually could get the best out of Washington instead of being this like third tier bottom feeder team. Like they could actually become a top 14, top 16 team again. Oh, big slap. Oh, yeah. Well, you got to think, if creative is putting the belt on you, and you can tell when you're the guy, and then when they're trying to replace you, or you're going from the Bret Hart to the Shawn Michaels, but then it goes from the Shawn Michaels to like Stone Cold to The Rock. Everyone has their moment, and everyone knows there's another guy that's just as big as them waiting in the wings to be that Hall of Famer to take the spot. No one wants to have their spot taken, whether it's injury, or they decide to promote someone else over you. No one likes to lose their job, or lose their spot. I mean, that's why the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart rivalry is one of the best, and Stone Cold Rock is one of the best, because they were so fucking good, both of them at that time. It's hard to say who was the better one at the time. They both were elite at the time. It was like the perfect like nemesis for each other. That was sweet. Carmelo. Too bad I don't have that Christian Okoye, Odin. I would have sent that to you. That would have been a real cool one. Or I'll do some looking on there. I'll have to look at like every single Derek Thomas starting lineup that they have. Bloody Lip Boy. NXT Championship. Yeah. If I send you this video link that my friend sent me for the WrestleMania 10 box set, like I said, it's awesome. And the guy like has edited the video to pose the figure next to him as he's unboxing it. So you can see like Razor in all his like Razor poses. Like the guy has the figure, on many little levels. So you can see all the accessories and shit that it comes with. It's got 4 figures in it too. It's pretty sweet. I've never seen a box set with 4. Not with 2 and 2, not with 2 of one guy and 2 of the other, not like that. But anyone that remembers that match, I mean, that is the ladder match. I mean, has there ever been anything better than Razor and Shawn Michaels with the ladder match besides like TLC, with Hardys and Dudleys and Edge and Christian? I mean, then you get tables, ladders, and chairs, baby. Whoop that trick. I'm excited that we're going to be able to do hockey with you on Tuesday, bro. I'm happy that you're going to, and it's early. That's what's good for me, good for you also. But we'll do Avalanche Rangers tomorrow at 4, and then we'll do a very exciting Avalanche and Devils at 4:30 on Tuesday. I'm excited. No Kraken, but hey, I can do both of those and act like that same type of excitement as watching the Kraken, because it's just, I enjoy those teams. It's fun. It's never boring. So it's like wrestling. Wrestling is never going to be like, I hate this. Like wrestling always will be like NFL or college football to me, or big elbow. Jesus Christ. I'm telling you, Carmelo is going to turn. Carmelo is going to, he's there for support. It's like, you've watched wrestling since the fucking 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and like the wrestling psychology and the guys that are waiting, on ringside, guys that are helping, guys that are, trying to help, but really trying to help the and then you can obviously start a feud that way, or however you want to go about it. Predictable boy. But again, I've watched thousands of wrestling matches. So if you've watched a lot, you've seen this before. That's why I'm able to predict certain things like on NFL, MLB, NBA, because I fucking am an insane person that has read and collected so many cards, watched so many games, so many highlight reels, so many fucking matches that it's like at some point you're going to see the psychology repeat itself. And then it's like, can I tap in and remember like how it turned out? Like, do I actually remember what happened at the end? And then sometimes you can put things like that together. So, but with Trick, like, I feel like he's like flashy, but he's like dangerous. Like, I get it, you're trying to be this flashy wrestler like Mello, but you're like over exaggerating your flashiness, and then your moves are taking a hit. They don't look as crisp, and they need to be more smooth, especially if they're chanting your name and you're getting hyped up. They're doing your catchphrase, but you got to make sure that you're selling also, and that when you're doing a neck breaker, you actually are touching the guy's neck, and it's not like a piece of the hair. Like, you got, a glancing blow where you're chopping up, but the guy's like 4 feet away. So even if they do a camera swap, like, it looks terrible, and the guy is like having to act out like his chin got hit. And, like, you want to make sure you're looking good, but you're not making the other guy look shitty either. Oh, what a power bomb. Dragunov's power moves are cool looking because he's small. So it's like you feel like you're watching a 5'5" or 5'8" guy power bomb a guy that's like 6'3". That's what makes him cool. I'm always going to be a heel guy in toy collecting, whether it, be Cobra Commander, whether it be Destro, oh, but a lot of times, you get the best talkers that are heels. And even the best faces, right? The best faces, Cody and Seth, right? Right? Are a better heel. The heel version of them is better. Like, remember when we had the Shield and Seth turned on the Shield? Like, you're going to have certain heels that are just going to be better. Here we go. Say, whoop that trick. Torpedo Moscow. Big boot connects. 1, 2. Yeah, the problem with Dragunov and his size, it's like Adam Cole, baby. Because once you get hurt or don't get hurt, but you look like you're 5'5" to 6 foot, even if you are taller, but you just look like you're a small guy, eventually, like they're not going to put you in matches unless you're like Daniel Bryan, like the ultimate short guy, like I said, that's why it's 2. So, unless you're like the ultimate, they cheer for you, but you're great on the mic and you're great in the ring and you're a legend. I mean, how many Daniel Bryans are there on planet Earth? Not many. And you could actually argue Daniel Bryan is the modern day, Bret Hart. Like, if you're looking for like a comparison of a guy like, except that, Daniel Bryan has more going against him, because they didn't, and that modern day, like the only reason that they decided to actually give him all that love is crowd reaction, and then they started to realize like how over he really was, but how great of a wrestler he was and great on the mic too. But there's been many cases where you've had a guy like a Daniel Bryan that never got his chance because he was just a short guy, Short guys are at a hella disadvantage. Like, you could still be ripped as hell, but if you're short, I mean, it's like, I don't know if it's maybe believability factor. Like, you got this little 5'5" to 5'8" guy, and he's going to beat up on a 6'8" guy. How can we sell this? Like, does he do moves, good enough to make us believe? This is a good match, which we knew it would be. I mean, that's why we're here. It's a Vito Moscow. He said, I hit him with that Soviet Union boy. 1, 2, 3. But kind of predictable, right? That you thought that Trick wouldn't win. You're doing 2 matches. Why would they have him win? You know, I mean, obviously the fans in the crowd believe that he actually had a shot. So that's what you want. You actually want to believe that the challenger actually has a shot, not Rock Roman. Was that the last match? There's no more matches after this, right? That was the main event. I believe we were supposed to have 6 matches. It's just not your time yet, Trick. There were some good moves in this match. Dragunov wrestles bigger than his height and weight. That's what makes, when you get guys like him and like Pete Dunne, where you got guys that are like shorter, maybe stockier, but they can still be entertaining. It's a different style of wrestle, like lure and wrestling. Still can appreciate it though. I already knew that this was going to be fun. What's the last match? Yeah. I don't know. I like to be able to see people get opportunities. I just like being able to see opportunities, for people foreign or, it's just cool to be able to see it's not just the same people over and over and over. You're getting people to, have different champions from different eras, different legacies, different race, different background. It's cool to see how they're doing it. There it is. There's the heel turn. O-Dog, smart dog. Smart dog. ESP dog, ESP dog. I'm not the only ESP. Finley, all of us. Odin, all the ESP. As soon as you're like, hey, that kind of feels like this could be that moment, right? But we thought it was going to happen at the end of the match, costing him the match, not after the match. So we got that part wrong, but it happened. But I 100% knew that this was happening. I just thought it was happening during the match to cost him. He's like, I'm mellow. Screw your leg. Cameraman on point with a cry. No, I can't believe it. Oh, no. Oh, boy, hitting him like Rock did on fucking Mick Foley's head. CTE dog, 15 times dog. Angry dog. It's always cool when you can be a team and then you go for heel turn because then you can have the build up and you can have at least 1 or 2 matches, or maybe 3. You can have the first match and then the second, the other guy wins, and then the third one, best out of 3, depending on how good the matches can be. So a heel turn always can lead to 1 to 3 amazing matches after, depending on storyline and how good they want to do it. Like RVD and Jerry Lynn. There's always going to be matches like that I remember. So what is your perfect story? How would you have Roman lose? Where would you have Roman lose? Would you have Roman hang on to the belt for a couple more years, or like how much, like what are we talking? Cody gets it at what particular event? Damn, they're throwing out the fuck you Mello chance. Mello is the better wrestler. Mello's better on the mic. Mello is more fluid in the ring. But again, Melo also could be buried in mediocrity. You know, there's always certain guys that you think that are going to be better, like Neville, where they can make him a star, but then they just, you know, Neville turns into Pac, and then they don't really give either one the you know, those guys are special. Neville, Pac, come on, man. It's your fault. Okay, is that the end of the pay-per-view? Are we done now? Oppenheimer. Are we done? Is that completely over? The pay-per-view is over, right? Or is it still going? It's over. That's the end, right? Oh, I can't wait for the next NASCAR race. Duel 1, Duel 2, Daytona on February 18th. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. Love me some Daytona. Then we get March Madness. Can't wait for that.
It's hard to know what's fake or true.
Just raise the glass with a friend or two.
Tell them more, tell them more, tell them more, do.
You know, the certain fans didn't like it when they're dropping the FU to the person.
It's a crazy world. So what do you do?
Hey, what's up there? Oh, I switched to H&R Block, doing my own taxes online. Kind of winning taxes. I was able to file free.
Yeah.
So easy to do.
That's how you would want it.
Tax.
I don't know. It'll be very, very interesting to see how everything plays out. Well, I appreciate everyone that came through to watch NXT Vengeance Day. We've done it like 3, 4, 5 years in a row. It's always been good. It's never going to be like a 10, but most of the time it's like an 8 to a 9.5, which is just on par with any WWE pay-per-view that we do. And any NXT takeover is the same. It's like Vengeance Day and takeovers are worth doing. Like they are actually worth doing. And sometimes the NXT takeover shows are better than the pay-per-view that we have that month. Like whether it be a Saudi Arabia pay-per-view or one of like the lower ones, sometimes the NXT takeover, I mean, it's not as good as like NXT takeover Brooklyn and then the Canada one and some of the ones that I used to watch back when we had the NXT with the yellow ropes with Adam Cole Bay. Back then, NXT Toronto, NXT fucking Brooklyn. Oh my God. I mean, those were like same like vibes as a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble, like for real. But I love you guys and I appreciate you guys very much. We're going to do NHL tomorrow. Again, let's go back here real quick. It will be at 4 o'clock Pacific, Avalanche and the Rangers at 4 o'clock. Only 2 games on tomorrow, Islanders and Maple Leafs at the same time. I prefer Avalanche Rangers. That way I'm more entertained. And I appreciate everyone that came through on Twitter/X as well as here. All the people that donated, commented, shared. I love you. I appreciate you. Odin, Finley, Sarah, Matt, everyone else. Love you and appreciate you. And I got one question for you. Who you know talks sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, NXT Vengeance Day. And I'm out. Okay.
90% thought visibly lifted eyelids and 96% thought visibly reduced lines